This is that one song that you heard so many times, and every time you hear it, you're like, I'm not gonna bump to this song. But then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry. Yeah. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, whoa. East Coast with that gang, gang. You know we don't play games, whoa. Hop up on that wagon, oh please just get out the way. You know we stay stuntin', right up in your face. We sorry, not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast gon' head stand up, put that glass and hands up. Gang, 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 we famed up. Got that change, we bagged up. True love, we stay manned up. Ahem like I'm wheezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy, drip so sick I'm queasy, whoa. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang. Yeah. Watch me finesse, walk to the line. Good versus evil, God in his prime. Always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine, wifey is fine. I'm doing fine, glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you were all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. That's the bad that you made, that's the bad that you made, yeah. Ay, yeah, bad that you made, that's the bad that you made. Ay, Katie, let's go.
All hell King Darius.
That's a bad that you made.
That's the bad that you made.
That's a bad that you laid.
That's the bad that you laid. What kind of game is you playing?
Go hard in the paint.
We go hard in the paint, yeah.
Fuck is you saying?
What the fuck is you saying?
Go with it.
I only go where they pay.
Game is you playing?
What kind of game is you playing?
Ay,
yeah.
Whoa, my shit is relevant, on topic, my melanin is popping. I'm taking skeletons out closets and making new deposits. I'm in my element, no ollies, you children popping mollies. I'm so intelligent, my honesty turned into philosophy. I go hard in the paint, the harder I play. Nigga, I'm like Harden on James, a problem to face. I don't wear my heart on my sleeve, just look in my eyes. Nigga, you can do what you need, I do what is right. I don't fucking want what you have, just look at your life. Nothing but is sacred to me, it's out of my sight. That just means it's out of my mind, it's not worth the fight. Nigga, yeah, I'm out of my mind, I'm out of my mind. Hey, you did what you did.
Yeah, you did what you did.
Give a fuck about intentions.
Don't give a fuck about intentions.
You can watch what I do.
You can watch what I do.
Just stay the fuck out my mentions.
Stay the fuck out my mentions.
That's a bad that you made.
That's the bad that you made.
That's a bad that you laid.
That's the bad that you laid.
Game is you playing?
What kind of game is you playing?
Go hard in the paint.
We go hard in the paint, yeah.
Fuck is you saying?
What the fuck is you saying?
Go with it.
I only go where they pay.
Game is you playing?
What kind of game is you playing?
Go hard in the paint.
We go hard in the paint, yeah.
That's a bad that you made.
That's the bad that you made.
That's a bad that you laid.
That's the bad that you laid.
He's heating up.
Game is you playing?
Go hard in the paint.
We go hard in the paint, yeah.
Fuck is you saying?
What the fuck is you saying?
Go with it.
I only go where they pay.
Game is you playing?
What kind of game is you playing?
Go hard in the paint.
We go hard in the paint, yeah.
make this money, it comes out on tap. Trying to stay private, but I got them groupies. Owe me in private, but don't get all choosy. Bust out the bubble and then with the new me. FTLOG on the top of the blue jeans. Y'all got the diamonds and I got the rubies. I got the rubies, I got the rubies. She call me Captain, but I got no cap. I make this money, it comes out on tap. Trying to stay humble, but I get real moody. Try not to stumble, but she a real cutie. Bust out the bubble and then with the new me. FTLOG on the top of the blue jeans. Y'all got the diamonds and I got the rubies. I got the rubies, I got the rubies.
Obesity is epidemic in the United States and a major cause of death.
What is fat activism?
I, a fat person, am sharing my own lived experience.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Your fat phobia is your problem.
It is not my place as a smaller-bodied white man to comment on it.
Radical body positivity.
What can men do against such reckless hate?
There's only one man who can help me.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
This day we fight!
Swole Normuth.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testing, testicles, testicles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3269 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and Slaycast in Zehral, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, Beaches, Booshes, Bustas, Hustlers, and Yahos? It's your boy Papa Swolio back with another episode. In today's episode, the Beastcast is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Everesting K2, flexing on all Happy Fef, happy Friday. April the 18th, hashtag Fef, it's Fuck'em Friday. And if you don't know what that means, it means it is time to do your weekly Swole cleaning, to go through your contacts, to go through subscriptions, to go through things that aren't serving your needs. Of course, that's not the podcast and not the Swole fam, but everything else. You need to make sure that you narrow down your field of vision so you can focus on your 7 pillars, go through your contacts, go through your DMs, make sure you take care of all the noise, block out all the noise, and lock in this weekend. Hashtag FEF for a chance to win today's Swole card. We'll give that away at the end of today's episode. Now let's get on into that tip. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside. All right, fam, big week. We had a big week, big new releases. Of course, we still have 20% off over there at papaswolio.com. We got the brand new Swole Gumby shirt. Today I'm rocking the D's with the arrow down. Obviously, that means D's nuts.
The little rascal has spirit.
Go check out all the merch over there at papaswolio.com. We're running some specials. We have a 20% off. It might be over already. We might be doing, I think we're doing like a buy one, get one. We're doing a massive sale, so I'm not sure if this is the current one. Anyway, head on over to papaswolio.com and check out the latest brand new merch drops. John says, your mane is on point, Papa. Mine's back off my neck. It's too hot out. Yeah, Mama Swolio took great care of it. She took great care of it last night. We did a whole treatment and stuff like that. More updates to come, but she did a whole nice hair drying session. It was nice. I got pampered. Papa Swolio got pampered.
Hi, puppy.
I feel good. And yeah, it's a good day. It's a Friday. It's a lifting day. Gonna make some gains today. If you trained already, drop in the comments down below what you smash. Let's get into some emails. If you are not on the email list, we got a bunch of emails. We've been rocking over there. So if you're not on the email list, it's free. Go to makeemailswoleagain.com. And a reminder that not only do you get regular emails from myself, and of course you can respond and we feature them on the show. if you have questions or topics or things that strike home. But also, if you're on the email list, you'll get updates for everything that we're doing. We'll get, early access to specials, new drops, new releases, new announcements. So if you're on the email list, you're going to not just get the Knowledge Cock in your inbox, but you're going to get all the other notifications and updates with the Swole fam and Papa Swole and merch and all that stuff. So go to makeemailswoleagain.com, lock in, get your 7 pillars in order, get your head in the game, and definitely respond to those emails. Makeemailswoleagain.com. First one today is from Christian.
What's in the box?
Did you give up on your resolutions? Christian said, I started on the gym October 18th. So it wasn't a New Year resolution. It's a life commitment resolution till I die. Rock out emoji. Ha ha. Thanks for the motivation for the surprise videos that actually do catch me when I'm late to the gym or sleeping or not sleeping. Haha, cheers, brother, and thank you. Well, you're welcome. Appreciate you, Christian. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for the response. Same email from Drist1177, Papa Swolio. So far this year, I have gained 5 pounds of muscle, and it's still increasing. Workouts are daily at my gym. I've been attending another one for some extra attention to muscle areas that need improvements. I've lost a full 1% of body fat and losing some inches. The last scan is attached to this email. Thanks for the extra motivation. Jeremy, based. Good for you.
I gave it a...
Good for you, Jay.
A 10! A fucking 10!
This email really hit home. We got a lot of responses. Sometimes you don't get a lot of responses to an email. Sometimes it's just, some fire under your ass. You can take it and run with it. But a lot of times we'll get a bunch of responses, and this one struck home. So Richie says, hi, Papa Swolio. I've been going to the gym since September. Asked out a friend to be my training partner. Aw, you asked a friend? Aww. Would you like to train with me? That's like dudes going steady. You want to be a training partner? That's dudes in a heavy relationship, literally a heavy relationship. I felt pretty great about it. Got compliments about the changes. 2 weeks ago, I stopped going. I didn't have time for it. Then I got tired, couldn't get up early to work out before my job. Still trying to get back into working out. Your videos encourage me. Just taking a bit of a timeout. Thanks, Papa. That'd be a great app, right? A great app. We've talked about Swolemates. What if the app wasn't for a romantic partner? What if Swolemates was you're in your local area? I guess you could just do it on Facebook. I'm sure there's things out there. But, you put your information up there. Hey, I live in this area. Here are the gyms. I'm looking for a training partner. I'm trying to build muscle. I'm this height. I'm this weight. What if you find someone, hey, I'm the same height, body weight, strength level. Let's train together. And you meet up and you start training together and you make a friend, and that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool idea. I'm sure you could just do that by posting up in local groups and things like that. But that's a pretty cool idea. That's what, that'd be a cool thing for gyms to do locally. But, sometimes there's a lot of gyms now. There's a lot of gyms in different areas, and it's a pretty cool idea. Okay. Or you can just talk to people, make friends. Thomas says, or Tomas, same email, last one. As a matter of fact, I did not give up. I am continuing my journey, going to the gym most days and meeting up with a personal trainer for accountability purposes. I've lost some weight, but most importantly, body fat, and have been increasing strength and muscle. I've been eating a little healthier and I feel the difference. Thank you for checking in and up. You're welcome. Keep it up, dude. And stay plugged into the emails and the podcast for any questions and things you might have. Let's get into some questions. Who's ready? Drop in the comments down below. Hashtag Ask Papa Swolio, and we will get to your questions. If you have them, use that hashtag so it stands out in the comments, and we'll get into some from Instagram stories and TikTok. Annie on YouTube says, does loading a bunch of 50-pound bags in the back of my car count as a workout? Not to carry them all to my backyard. If not, I'll be going tonight when I have more time. Well, it's definitely physical activity, and it might be fatiguing. And if you were loading 50-pound bags every day, you'll actually build muscle in those muscles that you're using to carry those 50-pound bags, but then you'll adapt to it. And then you won't really continue to build muscle because it's overload. It's overload specific muscles. Yeah, it's definitely exercise, but this is why you lift. And I posted this on X yesterday or the day before. Lifting, getting stronger makes everything lighter. I know it sounds silly, but it's true. Getting stronger makes the entire earth, makes just life lighter. And it just makes life easier. You got to pick up groceries. You got to put something up in the attic. I don't know. Helping your family or friends move a couch. It's just easier. Everything just gets lighter. Obviously, you're getting stronger. And that's the thing. People talk about machine training or bodybuilding training. Bodybuilding is strength training. That's what we call it, strength training. You can use different tools, machines, bands, all these different things. But the idea that some workouts are functional. What are you talking about? Doing barbell deadlifts aren't functional? If you can rip 400 off the ground, you can lift and bend and pick up anything, anytime, anywhere, you know? So strength is very applicable. It's applicable. It's absolutely applicable across the board. All right, let's get into first question. Drop in the comments, hashtag AskPapaSolio, DonnaCutie97 on Instagram stories. What advice would you give Papa Solio to lose belly fat? I'm in a calorie deficit, working out 6 days a week. Well, first off, 6 days a week isn't necessary for heavy strength training. So I would make sure you're on a real muscle building program, like heavy strength training. And I would look at your nutrition. The calorie deficit matters, but it's actually not the most important thing. You don't want to lose weight. You want to lose fat. So you want to build muscle. So if you're in a calorie deficit, chances are you're not getting all the nutrition or enough protein, just because people's food selections suck. So if you focus on the quality of foods first and then focus on the protein, you'll be getting in much more nutrients and you won't have to obsess about a deficit. You'll just be around a deficit or around maintenance, and you'll be building muscle and getting rid of extra body fat because you're reducing inflammation, all the other side effects from poor nutrition. So 7 pillars: focusing on your sleep, getting sunlight, touching grass, meditation, lowering stress and cortisol, lifting heavy weights, proper foods. That's the advice I would give. Stuff we talk about all the time, but Syed Zadeh, Papa Solio, what's the best age to hit the gym consistently? All of them. You can lift, you can train, you can exercise at any age. Kids are climbing, tumbling, doing all sorts of stuff. I don't think a 9-year-old should be doing a focused strength training program, but climbing ropes, jungle gyms, hanging from bars, doing pull-ups, throwing a ball around, medicine ball, throwing it, going and picking it up. Just more macro movements, physical activity, but everyone should be lifting. Everyone should be lifting or training and doing physical activity regularly. Everyone, even kids. Tanner Michael, 13, how do you get bigger legs? Progressive overload. Increase the weight and increase your strength on the exercise that you like the most. If you want to be specific with what muscles you should be working, the legs, outer hip, inner thigh, adductors, abductors, quads, glutes, hamstrings, calves. Those are your legs. So how? You need to get stronger. So more specific questions will get more specific answers. Yaz404, Papa Solio, how important is breathing technique, cardio versus strength training? Thank you. Breathing is important. It's very important. What you do when you're lifting, if you have that much of a problem, you should be exhaling usually when you're pushing for a concentric motion. You're just not going to be tightening your muscles up properly and giving yourself as much stability. And it's just neurologically backwards. Breathing technique is important. I wouldn't be over obsessing about your breathing technique if you don't have good form, if you don't have a good program, if you don't have good nutrition. The breathing technique is the easiest thing to tweak. Hamzagani, Papa Solio, or Hamzagani. What natural products should I take to bulk? Food, steak, dairy, eggs, fruit, sleep, creatine. What natural products should I take to bulk? And a lot of them, and training hard. Anyway, let's get into it. Nunu Ham, Papa Solio, outside in direct sunlight or sitting next to a window for sun is okay. Read vitamin D article and suggested to sit by window if not wanting to go outside. Does this seem accurate? Reasonably so, but you're also getting refracted light. So getting sun through a window is not the same as getting it directly. Wearing sunglasses out in the sun is not the same. Getting sun on your full body versus just on your ankles and your wrists and your forearms is not the same as full body sun. Someone mentioned, I said sun the sack. You want to get full body sun. You have skin all over your body. You need sun all over your body. And this idea, someone said, well, sun on the forearms is the same thing. No, it's not. Anyone that's ever been out in the sun and gotten sun on their balls, or just sun, taking off your shirt. And I know sometimes it's not convenient depending on where you live, but you guys know it's so much different getting sun on your body than just getting it on your forearms. It's not the same. So actually getting by the window is inferior in a big way, because you're not getting the same rays. You're getting refracted light, and different windows are different things. Sometimes windows are UV treated, or they're reflected, or they have like a reflecting on the outside. So it's not blinding, right? It might have a little bit of a tempered glass or something. I'm not a glass expert, but they might have some sort of to reduce glare and brightness coming in. Because don't forget, for buildings, if you're trying to cool off a building and has high ceilings, let's say it's a library, you don't necessarily want bright light coming in because UV light can damage books, and also it's hard to read, or you're getting blinded inside, and also it warms up more. So if you're blocking out some of that UV light, you're not getting that light on your skin, even if you're by a window. So you're not getting the same quality. I'm not saying it's bad. It's definitely preferable to sit near a window than it is to be in a dark cubicle with no open windows. So I'm not saying that's not better, but it's not the same as going out and getting sun directly on your skin. Store Machine 97. This is a kind of science and stuff that we need more of. The real impact of light and, different wavelengths and stuff like that. It seems like foofy nonsense, but it really makes a big difference. The sun in the morning with the different wavelengths, the more red and the oranges and stuff like that, versus full day sun, evening sun, circadian rhythms. It all matters. It's a big deal. Papa Swolio, 2 weeks ago, I slept wrong on my shoulder and it has an impingement. I've tried dead hangs and stretches, but still pinching when I raise my arm up, like doing a shoulder press. Work on scapular depressions. Dead hangs, just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Work on your external rotations, work on shoulder depressions, work on that serratus posterior inferior, right? Holding a bar or dead hangs and doing retractions. Work on bringing a lot of times maybe posterior rotator cuff needs a little bit more activation. I was doing something and I racked a bar wrong and I kind of tweaked my shoulder. So all I did was I haven't done an overhead press, or I haven't done the same movement where I kind of tweaked it, because I know exactly what I did and it just needs some time. So I can still do my chest press. It's just bothering me. It's like kind of like a dull ache, like I just strained something. So I haven't done direct shoulder work in like a week. So it happens sometimes. I had my wraps on and the bar, and I thought it was closer than it was. And I kind of like yanked on the rack and I tweaked it. And I was like, oh. And I remember in the moment, I didn't feel it until later on the next day. I remember I felt it. I was like, oh, I got to be careful that I can, jack my shoulder up. And wouldn't you know it, I already did. I just didn't feel it in the moment because I kind of racked, but it was a little bit further than it should have been. So I kind of had like a hunk, kind of like yank on the back of my arm. So it happens. And these are sensitive muscles. Remember, you're still using your rotator cuff, even if you're standing there, because it's stabilizing the shoulder joint. So you're resting it, but you're not really resting it. It's kind of always engaged. There's always tension on it. So those things just take a little bit longer to heal. Things like more macro muscle groups like your chest or your biceps or your triceps, like the actual belly of the muscle, you'll notice that it takes longer for tendons and those types of the dense connective tissues to heal. So getting a stabilizer muscle like a spinal erector or something, a little tiny muscle in your back, that can jack up your entire thing because you're breathing and it's stretching and it's always engaged. So you kind of move it. Oh, it feels like a pinch, like you pinched a nerve. It's just a tiny muscle. You have over 600 muscles in the body, and hundreds of them are in your back. So it's just a lot of little muscles. Hundreds, maybe that's an exaggeration, but all those multifidus muscles and spinal erectors, there's just tons of individual muscles that cross a couple of vertebrae. So if you really tweak something, it's going to be, depending on where it is, it'll feel more dramatic, but sometimes things just need rest. Hamzagani, how can I get hair like you? Aw, well, I'll be updating you on that. We got some new updates and some things, but scalp treatments, taking care of your hair, brushing it, eating quality food, right? Collagen, hair, skin, and nails, very important. Nutrition's essential. Sunlight's essential. Sleep is essential. Of course, there's genetics involved too, but my hair's much better than it used to be because I take care of it. But I also take care of what creates the hair. So if you want stronger and better hair, skin, and nails, start eating better and supplementing and using, high quality collagen and things like that. Store Machine, I was watching the rotator cuff and girdle masterclass, and it definitely made me realize how little space you have in your shoulders and how important mobility and training for the muscles and alignment. Does the impingement just take some time to go away, or is it something that could be freed by doing a certain movement or popping it back in place? So I already answered that. Don't forget, the rotator cuff just holds the humerus in place. So when you're using the rotator cuff, you're not getting like a jacked rotator cuff in the sense that the muscles that are providing all the force, the rotator cuff is just essentially stabilizing the head of the humerus in the shoulder capsule, in the shoulder girdle. Muscles like the rhomboids that are pulling on the scapula, the lats, the traps. You have the chest, a lot of muscles that are acting on the scapula and the humerus. Those are the ones, and the deltoids. Those are the ones that are using for like most of your force. But the rotator cuff is usually for like the beginning degrees of motion, but it stabilizes the shoulder. So if you injured one, there's less stability and inflammation. So anytime you're moving your shoulder, that muscle that's injured is trying to stabilize. So that's why you feel pain. So you kind of have to just avoid anything that's aggravating it. So this is another reason why I like training with machines, because if there's a stable exercise, maybe if you're using dumbbells, the stabilization, your shoulder bothers you. But if you get on a chest press machine, because of the way the chest press machine is designed and how stable it is, your rotator cuff essentially has to, there's more consistency. You could find a position that maybe doesn't bother it and train with that and then, do the corrective exercise and posterior rotator cuff and decompression and dead hangs and club swinging and stuff like that. And then once it starts feeling better, you can readjust your training protocol. So it's normal it's normal to work around something, but the problem is a lot of people work around something and never fix the actual underlying issue. Where'd you get the LGBTQ muscle group shirt? On my website. Link is in the bio. papaswolio.com. Jonesy, what diet would you recommend for somebody with Crohn's disease? Not medical advice, but I would look into carnivore, getting rid of all the inflammatory seed oils and, toxic veggies. A lot of vegetables and plant foods are toxic to the body. So I would reset, do like essentially a carnivore diet and see how your symptoms improve, and then do the elimination diet and individually test items. Very common for people with Crohn's to quote unquote suffer from Crohn's, but their diet is dog shit. So it just continues chronic inflammation. Fix the gut and you'll fix your skin. If you have poor skin, you want better hair, skin, and nails. It starts with your gut. It starts what you're putting in your body and how your gut and your immune system is functioning. This is why a lot of times, Mama Swolio dealt with this when people were getting experimental gene therapy in the last couple of years. Their hair is thinning and falling out and things like that, because if something's causing chronic inflammation in the body, like experimental therapies, these things have led to chronic inflammation, which can lead to heart inflammation and brain inflammation, ovary inflammation, issues with pregnancies and hair quality. And a lot of times people are having issues because your body is now in a state of chronic inflammation because it's attacking essentially, more recently speaking, you're essentially a spike protein manufacturing depot. So your body is always in a heightened state of inflammation, which has led to a lot of mental illness and skin conditions and hair conditions and reproductive conditions, heart conditions, a lot of things. And we're finding out more and more, but this is just the patterns that you can see and use basic common sense and logic. But of course, you start saying these things and people get all crazy and offended when they're just in denial and they don't want to admit that they did these things to themselves, at least in the short term. But you add that on top of terrible environmental factors, poor diet, poor sleep, chronic, it's just tons of anxiety, other medications people are taking. They're just so unhealthy. Storm machine, I think that's what it is. It's rotator cuff because I can do heavy dips and flies, but if I do decline or higher, I can barely lift my arm itself. Definitely a weird thing to experience. Do you have pain down the side of your arm? It's likely the supraspinatus. That's usually the one that infraspinatus or supraspinatus. And if you're feeling pinching when you raise your arm up, like for the arm that's injured, you could do this. This is a test. If you put your arm across and raise it up and it hurts, it's usually supraspinatus because it goes under the acromion process and gets inflamed and starts rubbing and pinching. And the thing is, something gets inflamed and then there's less space, so it rubs more, causes more pain, gets more inflamed because it's rubbing more. So you want to avoid irritating it because it'll start hurting more and more and more and more and more because there's more inflammation, less space for it to move, more rubbing, more inflammation, and it's a vicious cycle. John says, I'm 50 with a full head of hair. I have a light maintenance routine to keep it from thinning. The rest is all quality nutrition, hydration, and sleep. Let's see. Annie says, I had someone stop me at the gym last night and compliment me on my weight loss over the past couple years. Isn't that nice? I've actually been maintaining and have been recomping. I guess it's noticeable, apparently. Annie also says, drink raw goat milk. It's good for your gut as long as it hasn't gone bad. Well, yeah, don't drink bad milk. How about that? But raw goat milk is great. I love raw goat kefir. If you have issues with cow milk, you can look for A2 cow, but sheep and goat milk is all A2 and it's more homogenized. So I think like the fat molecules or something are smaller in goat milk. It's more watery, but it's easier to digest. So if you have issues with raw cow dairy, try raw goat. You might not have the same issues. Raw goat milk is great. Dennis P, I'm broke as fuck. Any tips for home workout? Yeah, progressively overload. If you're doing push-ups, do more push-ups. Check out Facebook Marketplace or local flea markets, or someone's doing a yard sale. A lot of people have dumbbells that they're just trying to sell on the cheap. Facebook Marketplace is a great way to get cheap weights. So if you have like $5 or $10 here and there, you can get a couple plates. You can get some bars, maybe adjustable bars. Some people are selling things, and they might sell them for, oh, this is $50 and this is $100. Like, hey, I'll give you $60 for both, or 75. They're like, yeah, take it. Just get out of my house. So pull-ups, push-ups. You can do a lot of stuff. Yoga. You can do great stuff. Go to a park and do a lot of like body weight and get your reps up. But of course, you're going to need some weight. You could always, look, if you're broke as fuck, you could find a cinder block and get a chain or a belt and just hook your dip belt through the cinder block. And there you go. You have weighted dips. You have weighted pull-ups. No joke, man. Like, this is weight's weight. It's just harder to overload, right? If you're trying to squat 300 pounds and you're holding like 15 cinder blocks, it becomes less realistic. But you can do all these things. Get a sandbag. You can get like a bar and have 2 sandbags, go to the beach, or put dirt in it and put rocks. Like, weight's weight. It's just harder to progressively overload because you don't know what these things weigh unless you're weighing it. And it's not balanced, but it is what it is. Camden Ross 14, Papa Solia, what happens when we need a rest day? Do we still go to the fucking gym? Do yoga, do some mobility, go for a walk, get sun, sauna, cold plunge. Recovery days, I mean, again, don't forget, rest day is part of your program. So get the thought out of your head that on a rest day, I can fuck off and eat like shit. And what do I do? I'm not training. Yeah, that's how you're growing. Your body has to recover. If you're training all the time, you're never recovering. You're never recovering. If you're doing intense cardio and off lifting days, you're just exhausting yourself. And a lot of people will get some results and then they're going to hit that fatigue limit and just keep on redlining all the time. And they're never recovering and wondering why they're not seeing progress, because they're just beating themselves into the ground and they're not actually doing the things essential to build more and to get from where they are to the next. As you build muscle and as you're training, it's harder and harder. When you first start from doing nothing, you can make massive jumps. It's called newbie gains. Your body is just responding to all these new stresses. But as you get more advanced, it's scratching and clawing for a fraction of a percent. Just how it works. A day off from training is not a rest. It's not a rest day. It's part of your program. It's a recovery day. So don't use rest days. It's recovery. Do what you need to do in order to recover optimally and to help you get towards your goals. Cobra, do you think creatine is safe at any age? Yes, probably for most people, unless you have a specific issue. Why creatine would be bad for you? Any age is a vague, you mean like 1-year-old, 2-year-old? 2-year-olds don't need supplementing with creatine. They need breast milk. I mean, maybe, up to whatever age they stop breastfeeding. 1.5 to 2, 2.5, something like that. Depends, I guess, right? Store Machine, I wanted to share with everyone I had a small amount of carbs before, thinking they are inflammatory and bad. Just fruits and sweet potato. I started eating a bunch of rice and have tons of energy now. This is why I just don't like just carnivore or keto. I think carbs are essential. But also essential for energy production, for lifting, for glycogen saturation in the muscles. I just personally like it. So I think everyone's going to be different. Some people can handle less. Some people can handle more. It's really all context as to what you're doing. And people aren't getting like massive and jacked just eating meat. Like, you need to, I feel drained just thinking about not having carbs. All right, last chance for questions. Drop in the comments. Last chance. Hashtag Ask Papa Swole. Orange Twingo, doing lots of cardio okay. Is doing lots of cardio okay if you're compensating for carb and calorie intake? Why are you doing so much cardio? Lift more weights. Cardio can be used as a seasoning. You're not going to be building muscle with that. and not necessarily because you're adding fatigue. What's your priority? What are you trying to do? Most people want to build muscle and be leaner, and they're focusing too much on cardio. That's why I say that. How many repetitions are recommended? It's more important your proximity to failure. You're much more able to gauge proximity to failure if you're lifting heavier, and you're less required to go to absolute task failure if you're lifting heavier. You can leave a rep in the tank. If you're doing higher repetitions, you have to go up to and likely including failure. It's harder to gauge how many reps you have in the tank. So personally, I like 4 to 8, 4 to 10, depending on the movement. I usually don't do more than that. And as I get more like, 7 to 8, 9, if I get up to that point, I'm adding weight. That's just personally how I look. Is jump rope good for weight loss? Jump rope is great, I think, for just cardio, but also it's good for the stretch shortening cycle. It's great for like explosiveness and that kind of, elasticity in your tendons and your feet. It's great for like, compensating for running, lymphatic drainage. I think there's a lot of benefits to it. I wouldn't do it for fat loss. Like, you need to be training, lifting heavy weights and getting sleep and eating the right foods. That's much more important. How do I look without the beard, Swole? Let's see. Martial arts mama. All moms and babies are different when it comes to breastfeeding. My daughter was for 1 year. My 12-year-old son did it for 2 years, and my youngest for 3 years. Indeed. I guess you'll know. Everyone's going to be a little bit different with that. Makes sense. How many exercise do you recommend for each workout? Roughly 10 reps and 4 sets per exercise. No, I don't recommend that at all. It depends on your training split and everything else. These are questions that don't really matter. This depends on your split, your training intensity, your ability to recover, X, Y, and Z. But I definitely do not do 4 exercises I don't do 4 exercises for a body part in a workout, let alone 4 per exercise. I don't do more than 2 per exercise. Sometimes I do 1, but I train every other day, so frequency is more important. 2 or 3 times a week should be most body parts. Lavash, Papa Swole, do you think too many electrolytes can cause kidney stones? Well, that's all in context, too. The kidneys don't work independently of other things that are going on. I don't think electrolytes have anything to do with it. If you're talking about electrolytes, like certain stuff in context with other things, I'm not a kidney stone expert, but in themselves, I wouldn't see how that's possible. Again, this is the problem with our medical system, because it just segments everything, as if the kidneys don't have anything to do with other things, right? As if the kidneys don't have anything to do with the gut, or the kidneys don't have to do with, all these other factors. So it really depends on the individual and the current state. Because what I was saying when someone said, is any age good to take creatine? If you currently have major, kidney issues, like if you currently have a situation where your organs are not functioning properly for whatever reason, then that's a good reason to not take some of these supplements, because your body can't process them, or they could be a negative factor because of the current situation that you're already in. So we're talking about like a healthy person, and most people aren't healthy. Most people have a lot of inflammation, a lot of issues in the gut. It starts there. It starts in the gut. Think about it. How do you take things in, right? You breathe, or you eat, or you get from sun or your skin. How do you absorb things? Think about that. How do you take things in to create your body? You have to eat it or drink it, breathe it, or get it from the sun or your skin. That's it. So people that are telling you that the sun is dangerous for you, get the fuck out of here. What you drink doesn't matter. That's one of the few things that you can control in how you take in nutrients to create everything in your body. What you eat matters once in a while, like poisoning yourself only a couple times a day. You don't think this chronically leads to like inflammation that's going to affect other things, right? The air you breathe, very important. You're sucking in toxic shit all the time. It's not going to be good for you. All these things matter. It's your environment. Living 15 feet away from a 5G tower, it's not good for you. Whether it's going to cause cancer in 1 year and roast your brain, I mean, I don't see how it wouldn't over time. It's going to negatively affect you, right? It matters everything. We have a massive butterfly garden. Okay. I'm watching life all day, birds and butterflies and caterpillars and, frogs and lizards. If you have like these high EMF frequencies and stuff, like all these animals can sense it. You'll turn on a light or do something and they fly away. Like they feel all these things. They feel these different shifts and currents. We just don't have, or we tell people that we don't have the ability to really feel these different frequencies and other dimensions, or we don't have the senses that can see certain wavelengths and things like that. Doesn't mean they don't affect our body. So just because I can't be like, I feel EMFs, doesn't mean it's not affecting you. Just because you ever try this where you touch, someone's back, like, you have different nerve endings. So you can tell in certain body parts, like with your hand, because you have a lot of nerve endings, you could tell when there's 2 fingers versus 1. But in the middle of your back, you can't tell whether it's 2 or 1 if they're really close. Or even if they're further away, you can't tell if you're being touched with 1 finger or 2 because you have less nerve endings in your back. So, it's like those other things. You can tell when someone's looking at you, right? You're in a room and you can just tell someone's looking at you. You just feel it. Like there's different senses that we have that we kind of disconnect from and block out and ignore as if they're just, foofy nonsense just because we don't understand it. I think there's reasons for all that, where you could just sense something, you can just feel it in the air. But there's physical energy, right? There's magnetism. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. You're acting like, and people act like it's not a factor. Of course it is. Why do you think people that go out in the woods and go camping and disconnect from electricity, like that resets their sleep cycle in a couple days, they're waking up with the sun, they're feeling tired when the sun goes down because they're not getting all this noise and light pollution. That's why it's so resetting. Yeah, good genetics. Genetics matter. But what about epigenetics? That's still a new field. Epigenetics is how environment triggers and activates or shuts off certain gene sequences. So we all have genetics, but what activates these things? What turns these on? What triggers certain gene sequences to become active that can be detrimental to humans? And how do we undo that? And how do we use our habits to put ourselves in the best chance for success and long health and all those things? All right. I turn on most women's genetics. Oh boy.
Hi, puppy.
Oh, TikTok. Manny. Papa, so I got a question. Hammer curls, seated crossbody. Hammer curls, seated crossbody. How do you do that? Oh, like this? I never curled like that. That always looked really weird to me. Or by my side, which is best? What are you trying to do? Hammer curls are great for the brachioradialis. You don't have to do hammer curls. You don't have to do them. They can be beneficial. You could do hammer curls or reverse curls, but you don't have to go across your body. You could just do them straight like that. It's fine. You could also do, what's also cool is doing like a reverse curl with a ankle cuff around your forearm. So you don't have like the grip as a limiting factor, because you're not getting your forearms with reverse curls, or, you're getting more your brachioradialis, which doesn't cross your wrist. You're trying to hit the forearm and brachialis. Well, you could do direct forearm training. Club swinging is great too. A brachioradialis, I meant. I don't think you're really going to isolate the brachialis, really. You just need bigger arms. Most people just need to get bigger. Are you doing a preacher curl? Do a preacher curl. That way you're getting more tension from the lengthened position. Is it true that the easy bar doesn't work out biceps? No, it does. It's just a little bit more pronated. It's just a little bit more pronated. So if you have an angled machine for like a preacher curl and you're doing like, you can do one arm and kind of open up and try to get as much supination as possible. Sometimes people have issues with a straight bar just because they have poor mobility. That's really what it is. So straight bar is great. And if it causes issues, just most people just don't have good mobility with their joints. Papa Soy, I would like to partner with you and be your shirt maker. Oh, I appreciate that, but we're good to go. But thank you for that. Just remember when you're training body parts, you don't have to do every exercise for every body part. So for example, if you're doing biceps, you don't have to do preacher curl and hammer curl and reverse curl, at least in the same workout. So you can alternate it. So if you're training biceps 2 or 3 times a week, you could do one day preacher curls. The next time you could do some hammer curls. You know, you don't have to do it every single session. You don't have to do it every single session. A lot of times people think that everything for a body part has to be done the same, but you get fatigued and it just becomes redundant. And all right, cool. We got a little balls deep and then we're going overtime. Join us over at swolenormousx.com. Link is in the bio for 50% off all merch. And of course, you can follow the podcast on Rumble and YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts at The Daily Swole. So the show continues. If you want to find all those links and merch and everything, it's all in the menu over at papaswolio.com. Thanks for being here, TikTok. Appreciate you. Follow the channel. Let's get into some BD. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That's deep. All right, so let's get into some Stufens. Let's see what we got here. Pick a number 1, 2, or 3. And, oh no, we got a couple here. Wait, we got more. Yeah, 1, 2, or 3 is fine. I'll get us started. Pick a number 1, 2, or 3. We'll start with this one. I don't think we shared this one yesterday. So I'll start with this one. It's called Body Neutrality. So we'll get started with this, and then we got a couple more. We're going to load it up today.
Neutrality. In a lot of spaces, it can feel like we are doing body neutrality, body positivity, body liberation, right or wrong. Let's get rid of that language. It's unhelpful. How about we try grace and compassion? You are not immune to any of the pressures around what makes or breaks the hierarchy of bodies in our society. You didn't come up with that. Put that in the trash over there. Give yourself grace that you are not immune to all those pressures. Every day is not going to look like it's the most compassionate towards yourself. Even if you can just say, wow, I'm not immune to the pressures of diet culture, try that out. Sonia Renee Taylor speaks to this very well, of utilizing grace and compassion as a way to love the part of you that does not love your body, because they also need to be seen. They also need to be heard. They also need to be held.
Oh, hold
so
it.
Next time that you come up into this place and feeling like you're doing this right or wrong, remind yourself you are not immune to the pressures of diet culture. You are not immune to the hierarchies of body that are in our systemic oppression in our society. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be here.
You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be here. What, bro? What?
Matt Damon.
You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be here. What does that mean? What does that mean? You deserve to be here. What does that mean? No one knows. All right, we'll take your calls in a second. We got this one, Fatphobic Doctors, and then we're going to raffle off the last 3. Let's see what we got here.
Your doctor
Yeah.
will blame everything on your weight. Maybe you broke your finger. It's because you're fat.
No one's ever said that. No doctor's been like, you're fat. You wouldn't have broken your finger if you're not fat. So that's retarded number 1. We need a retard counter. Bing. 1.
Because you're fat. Chronic headaches. It's because you're fat.
Retard number 2. It's because you're fat. Probably. If you eat trash and you're fat as a result of it and your gut is fucking destroyed, yeah, you probably have chronic headaches because you're nutrient deficient and dehydrated and X, Y, and Z. Absolutely. It's not because you're fat because of all these things. Plus, yeah. Yeah. As if fat came first. I was just fat. No. Your habits led you to being fat and being metabolically crippled.
When you're walking into the doctor as a fat person, it's like you already have 3 strikes against you. And
Okay, so what are we arguing about here? Again, if you go into the doctor as a fat person, you already have 3 strikes against you. You're going into the doctor obviously unhealthy. So the doctor is going to be like, hey, you should probably change the habits because you're morbidly obese. Yeah, take care of your health. And guess what? You wouldn't be at the doctor. Most people are at the doctor. Like, I don't know. Some people go to the doctor like I go to the fucking gym. It's always interesting because why are you going to think about this. Why are you going to the doctor so much that this is a cause for concern? The doctor just keeps on telling me to not do things that make me morbidly obese. Did this happen one time? Healthy people never go to the doctor, or once a year for blood work or whatever. You're not there enough to have, I don't know, a constant dialogue going. There's a reason you're at the doctor all the fucking time.
entire appointment, you're going to be working to try and get back up to level ground with someone who is not fat. And sadly, most of the time, you'll never get there. I cannot tell you how pivotal it was for my health to find a doctor that was not fat phobic. And
I can't tell you how good it was for my health to find a doctor that didn't care about my health. A doctor that wasn't fat phobic. So a doctor that doesn't point out, hey, you're trashing your body. I can see it. You look terrible. I'm so glad I found a doctor that doesn't care about my health and is going to pretend like being fat is good. Yeah. I would hope all doctors are, quote, fat phobic.
I also cannot tell you how fucking difficult that was.
Yeah, well, you found the most retarded doctor out there. Congratulations, you went to the bottom of the barrel. Good for you. You found the doctor that is like, well, I can't compete with good doctors. Put an asterisk next to good doctors, but I can't compete with these people. So let me just tell all my patients that they're great just the way they are. Maybe I can get some more patients that way. Oh, look, found a retard. Found one.
Don't even try to tell me that that's their job, especially if you've never lived in a bigger body.
Okay. Well, how about don't be a fat, lazy retard and you won't have that problem. Oh my God, go to the fucking gym. Oh my God, eat real food. No, I don't want to eat real food. You're fat. Stop yelling at me. Okay. Let's pick a number. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. LET 123. LET to the corner.
What's in the box?
This one's called Too Skinny.
I was just in the comment section of another creator who lost a lot of weight. Someone was saying basically that being called too skinny is the same as living with obesity, or like it's the same kind of hardship, like equal, samesies. Like no one should be body shaming anyone. We should certainly not be making fun of other people for any reason. If you've been called too skinny, no, that's not nice. Yes, that's its own trauma, and you, of course, are entitled to whatever badge of trauma you want to wear for that. But please never compare your experience to the experience of a person living in an obese body. Ever try to get on an airplane if you're too skinny versus being too fat? Have you ever been turned away from riding a roller coaster? Have you ever had a doctor completely ignore everything that you're saying is wrong and just try to blame all of your health issues on your weight? It's not the same. And you're not marginalized for being too skinny. Just know. Love you. Take care of yourself.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, the eyes. Gee, holy shit.
The eyes, Chico.
Fuck me.
They never lie.
That's a scary looking twat right there. Yikes. Okay, again, just a couple things. Who do you think is banging that? It's usually these mentally deranged cat ladies. For a reason. Look at that shit. Who the fuck is waking up to that? No one. Yikes. It's like a horror movie. It's like one of those like YouTube like horror shorts. All right. Let's do this. We're going to do this. One of them is titled This Society. The other one's titled Rant. We'll do the rant last. This one's called This Society. Number 2. Who chose number 2?
What's in the box?
This Society.
We live in this society. Yeah. We are affected by what we hear. Yeah. Right? While we continue to work towards being inclusive.
Why are you talking into a microphone and then we get like iPhone audio? Just saying.
It doesn't stop me from having thoughts that aren't the best. It doesn't stop me from being like, oh my God, good for her.
What the fuck is that?
Stop us from when we were kids. This came up a lot in treatment for me, but like a lot of plus size girls growing up, teens, plus size teens, will literally wish for an illness so that their body will lose the weight.
Well, how many of us have actually considered
cutting our
stomachs off?
Like there's chopping our stomachs off.
Who sang that? Was Maddie somebody? The Fat Funny Friend.
Yes.
And it was like literally talking about, taking scissors, taking scissors to your body so that they have to, sew you back up. How fucked is that?
Well, if you think about it, like for me, I'm already starving myself. I'm already calorie counting. I'm already working out as much as I physically, humanly can. Like, what else can I do? Yeah. You already hate yourself so much. You're putting yourself through the absolute ringer, picturing self-harm, right? Of like literally cutting off pieces of your body. Like it actually makes a lot of logical sense. It's like literally
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That's a great point. Excellent. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The weirdest, fattest circle jerk I've ever seen. All right, one more, and then we're going into the Daily Swole Telegram chat, and we're going to get into some throwback DWG and some new balls deep edits. It's going to be fire. Love those BD edits. So let's get into one more. It's called Rant.
What's in the box?
This one is called Rant. Let's check it out.
Another rant. It pisses me off whenever people see someone being fat, again, having to do with fat people. Someone is fat, they're not doing anything to lose weight, and then someone comments like, I understand if you have like a health condition, but like, you're just choosing to be unhealthy. It's like, okay, and you vape and smoke and drink. Like, I know people are tired of that, like, conversation, they're tired of that argument, but, well, it's the truth. Like, I'm not gonna lose weight until you stop smoking. You can't do it. Yeah, but I'm choosing to be unhealthy. Let's take a look at your lungs. Yeah, I'm choosing to be unhealthy. Surely. And I'm perfectly healthy. The least healthy thing about me, actually, is the fact that I smoke and vape.
Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
Go fuck yourself. Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Oh, God. All right, let's go into overtime. Let's get into the Swole card. Before we do, I see in the Telegram chat, Alex says, what type of vegetables would you recommend or not recommend eating? I'm not a huge fan of veggies besides basically just potatoes. Well, that's not really a veggie. But I do think I need some of them on a rather consistent basis. You'd have to test and check these things. I'm not a fan in general. I'm not saying I don't eat plant foods. Fruits are from plants. But you're going to have to test these things individually. But I don't eat broccoli or kale or spinach or any of those things. I've just found no need for them. I haven't eaten them in a long time, and I feel fantastic, so I'm going to keep on going. And that's for something that for you to decide to check out. All right, Swole card time. Let's give it away. It is the FEF. The FEF Swole card, and then we're going into OT. OTZ. Fef. Scroll. Today's winner, we have one. It is Pam. Congratulations, Pam.
Congratulations.
Like Pam won another card recently. Good for you. Pam, send us an email to support@swolenormous.com, Swole card 3269 in the subject, your mailing address in the body of the email. Ain't that fantastic? Congratulations, Pam. Fam, let's get into today's overtime segment. Join us over at swolenormousx.com. Download the Swolenormous app, App Store, or Google Play, and you'll get access to all the replays, the private live streams, roundtables, programs, master classes, all the new releases, everything. We got a lot of stuff coming, especially for this week and Monday. Very excited for it. So make sure you join us over at swolenormousx.com. And right now we do have the merch sale. I wasn't sure if we kicked it off. The buy one, get one, 50% off all merch. papaswolio.com. Check out the Swole Gumby, the My Swole Pony, the Curl Bears, all the new drops, papaswolio.com. Buy one, get one, 50% off. Now let's get into overtime, Beaches.
Finish him.
Overtime is now in session. So head on into the Daily Swole Telegram chat. Link is pinned right there at the top of the Swole Fam Telegram chat for members. So head on over there and we'll see you in OT in Dos Minutos. Thanks for being here. We will see you on the podcast. Remember, Apple Podcasts and Spotify over the weekend for the Swolosophy. And let's get overtime started. Peace, McGee's, deuce, magoose, ya boy, Papa Swolio, out.
I just wanna win on the low, like you making demands. I said, whoa.